Ready. Fight.
Yo, what's up? Image here. Welcome back for more tutorial in dogfighting here in Sky and Fire. Before I continue, I want to say thank you for clicking on my video. So sit back, relax and enjoy. Hopefully you learned something. Okay, so on this video I will share with you how you can get behind your enemy. Now just a disclaimer, I am not a professional or even an aviation student. My knowledge is only based on experience and few studies, but these things are what works for me. Keep in mind that these tips are conditional. If performed incorrectly, it may not work, but in dogfighting there are no rules. So you may change the way you execute these maneuvers, and just be patient when you practice. So let's officially begin. So how do you get behind your enemy? Well, there are two logical answers to this. First is to go around quickly, and second is dumping your speed. Going around quickly is the game played in two circle fights. If you rate a second faster, you get to circle around your enemy quicker. Second is usually when you're being chased and you suddenly dump your speed like the Cobra maneuver and make the enemy overshoot. Now that we have assessed our two options, the next question we will have is how effective is it? Well, that depends on your plane. That's why you should know what your and your enemy plane can do so that you would have a clear understanding in performing these maneuvers. Let's take a look at the Spitfire. A Spitfire has a better turn rate and faster against a BF. So if you're in a two-circle fight, eventually you will end up behind the VF, but no smart pilot would want to fight a Spitfire in a two-circle fight, so most likely they would have bugged out already on the second or third lap in the circle. Spitfire also has a high angle of attack. This allows you to execute tight maneuvers without you immediately stalling. Rolling scissors is my favorite when forcing an enemy in front of you, but what I also love doing with a Spitfire is making a sharp 180-degree turn, which a BF can't follow. And after I lose them, I will barrel roll behind the enemy, as you can see here. So, onto our second option, dumping our speed. If you've been watching Dogfight for some time or even a fan of Top Gun, you've most likely heard the line, hit the brakes and they'll fly right by. But how do we brake? Unfortunately, World War II planes don't have the air brakes like the modern fighters do, but there are a lot of things that still cause the plane to rapidly lose their speed. We can take advantage of two forces that are always present when flying a plane. First is gravity, and second is drag. Let's talk about gravity first. We all know gravity is like a force that constantly pulls us to the earth. Well, after dropping our throttle, we can point our nose up and this will cause the plane to lose speed faster. We may perform a high alpha maneuver, almost similar to what a Cobra does. You can see this performed by Maverick and Top Gun when fighting a 5th gen fighter. But be warned, this takes timing and proper distance, and it's harder than it looks. Most of the time your enemy will actually follow you, but if done correctly, they will still overshoot, and this will be your chance to do some follow-up. Now with the drag. Plainly speaking, any turn you make creates a drag, but I want to highlight the flaps here particularly. Hurricane, D520, and BF109 have more control with their flaps. You cannot make an enemy overshoot if you're both flying slow, so when you try to perform this maneuver, you're most likely flying 200 miles an hour, and a full flap with this speed will cause you to break away. That's why this is the advantage of the mentioned planes earlier. You can manually set how much flaps you want to deploy, and combined with special maneuvers like the alpha maneuver, a simple barrel roll, or at least pitching up your nose or a climb to get the best result. Okay, that was a lot. So I'm really trying my best to keep my explanation simple and this video short, but let's take a quick break here. And while we're at it, please subscribe, and if you already did, thank you very much. And well, let's continue our flying lessons again. This will just be a quick discussion since we don't need to be too technical here, but note also that this is the most crucial part of BFM to be successful. Two things you need to observe here: speed and distance. So you turned around and saw a bandit closing in behind you. What does it mean? Obviously, it means they have more energy, but if you see them just kind of tailing behind you, well, most likely both of you just have the same energy. So, you already judged their speed. The next thing you should measure is their distance. This is known as the control zone, and it applies to all attackers. If you're too close to your target, even a less maneuverable aircraft, when it suddenly turns, your brain will only realize that after 200 milliseconds, plus the time it takes to make that turn. The result? Overshoot. So before you perform any tricks, make sure that they are close enough and they don't have enough room for corrections. For the last part, you should bait or force them. I'm not sure if there's a more proper BFM word for this, but what I mean here is that your enemy is not dumb, and don't expect him to do what you want him to do. If they start to gain on you and you slow down so you can close the gap between you to perform the maneuver, they will also slow down and now you end up with a low energy with a bandit within gun range. That's why you need to bait them. Usually what I would do is either a dive or just point my nose down if I want the enemy to overshoot and I notice they don't have that excess energy. Because gravity will pull us and from there I will find the right timing to execute my chosen maneuver. Sometimes you cannot bait them, and your only option is to force the enemy. This is where the scissors are very effective. Rolling scissors are for planes with high angle of attack, and flat scissors, in my opinion, are with low angle of attack but with low stall speed. Unlike baiting, this fight takes a lot of skills because you constantly need to monitor and adjust your speed, precisely turn your plane without reaching your critical angle of attack, and of course, reading your enemy. For me, it actually feels like you're competing with someone about who can hold their breath much longer under the water, and whoever comes out first is the loser. And we finally reached the end of the video, so thank you very much for watching till the end. I hope you learned something and at least have ideas now to win your dogfights. And shout out to JompShort5680 for requesting this tutorial. So if you enjoyed this also, most likely I won't be shown by the algorithm again. So please subscribe and of course always have fun and see you on the next one.